Well, Reg Militia, the riot of the people. I messed up the words, but you all know what it ends with. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed.
You know what?
That was freaking amazing, dude. That
Smeggy,
was awesome.
you need to do that. You need to record that.
Seriously.
Or you need to play that every time we start hit or miss, because I like the live version more so than I like the acapella version.
Just call it 2A Riot radio mix.
There we go. There we go.
Done. I'm gonna buy it on iTunes.
No. It's 2A Riot Detroit mix.
There you go. Yep. Original Detroit punk mix.
And yes, that was Smeggy on the drums, everyone.
Oh.
Smeggy does play the drums. All right.
Real drums or electronic drums?
Those are real.
Oh.
Real crappy, but real.
No, they weren't crappy.
It's one of those little kid sets you get in the Christmas catalog.
It is a crappy set. It's a TKO percussion, which is like a couple $100. I've had it since I was in middle school. But I replaced the heads on it with Remo heads and made it sound like 10 times better. Like they used to sound horrible. Now they sound okay.
Yeah, and get those nice Zildjian symbols and all that stuff. Yeah.
Welcome everyone to Hit or Miss. I'm Night Strike, and thank Smeggy for his awesome rendition with those drums. We may have to have him do it every night, or we might just need to have him record it so we can play it after, because that was awesome. I prefer that one. All right, so I'm gonna go and do a brief view of who we got out there on the YouTube side, just to give the YouTube people some love. We got Colt 97Z out there. We got AC 97. We got Grim 90. Scott Pacini. We've got who else we got out there? 04 Hemming is out there, and Travis, you're in here. You don't need to be out there. We have Mel the Nut out there as well, and we got
chat with the crowd. I love to chat out in the chat.
We got Gary Decker and we got Rich Wright. Apparently Midnight Range is out there too, the other Travis. All right, we got certainly a plethora of viewers out there tonight. Thank you guys for showing up. And let me introduce my panel. I shouldn't forget that. We got Cycle Camp. What's going on, Cycle Camp?
Cycle Camp, no day of the week, no time of the week.
All right.
Too bad.
All right. And then we have Smeggy 42 with the drums. What's going on, Smeggy?
Hey, how's everyone doing today? Sorry I was a bit late. I was over at Tactical Tuesday on Ghost Tactical's channel. If anyone's not aware of that, check it out. It was a pretty good show.
It was pretty good for the past 15 minutes I caught of it. All right. And last but not least, we have Travis P11.
Hey, what's going on? This is Travis P11. Guys, you can check me out over on VidMe. My channel is Travis P11. And I'm also on gunchannels.com with the Caliber Corner. So check out my channel over there, my podcast over there. And I'm on YouTube.
I butt crack early in the morning on Saturdays.
Yeah, you know, we're going to actually do a later show on Saturday. I need to talk to you guys about that because I got to get some work done on the vehicle, and I'd like to start it later. So we're thinking maybe noon Central Time, the only time zone that matters. So...
well, remember, Rick does his chats at 3, so don't.
Oh, no. I was thinking about like maybe high noon, 12 o'clock on Saturday Central. If nobody's got one going on, we might just shoot for that because I got to get an oil change done on the vehicle, and I have to take it to the shop to get it done because it's under warranty.
I could sleep in.
There you go. Yeah, no, it won't be butt cracking on for this one. No, and I'm going to get it set up, but I just want to make sure I'm not going to overlap anybody's show.
Right.
So there you go. You guys get permission to sleep in on Saturday before you listen to Caliber Corner.
All right. We might have a few more people joining us. I've got a ton of links out. We'll see if anybody actually shows up or not. But we're going to go over a couple topics tonight. Guys, if you have any topics you'd like to go and discuss, please do so. I also got a few questions from last week because we didn't answer all the questions on the email side from last week. So we got some of those. So we'll get in. We'll go on through and start going over topics. I wanted to broach the topic of the whole shit with the Senate. What's going on in the Senate right now? I read a piece from the Truth About Guns saying that the reason why we're not getting any pro-gun legislation is because apparently the Republicans are divided. Apparently, one of them in particular, the Speaker of the House, is basically blocking all pro-gun legislation. Excuse me. He's blocking all of it because saying the timing's not right. Well, I don't know if he got the memo, but November last year, all the Republicans that were going for re-election were going to say, "Oh, we're going to do national reciprocity. We're going to get, we're going to do the whole NFA thing for the suppressors for people. Re-elect us or elect us, and we'll get it done." And well, they haven't done jack shit. And apparently, it's come up that it's Paul Ryan that is obstructing the legislative process, so to speak.
Horse shit.
So you don't believe that? You don't believe that?
I don't believe that at all. And you want to know why?
I want to hear what you have to say. So go for it.
You remember Obamacare? You remember how they all promised they were going to get rid of Obamacare, and when Trump said "put up or shut up," they folded their tents.
Yeah.
That was a real embarrassment. You know whose job it is to stop shit like that from happening? It's Paul's job to stop shit like that from happening. He's not supposed to put stuff on the table he doesn't think is going to pass. And when he says the time isn't right, he's absolutely right. There's so many freaking rhino Republicans out there that he knows that if he put that legislation on the table tomorrow, it would die. And that's why he hasn't put it up yet. In fact, what he's actually going to be working on is my inside information is that they're trying to put more sporting friendly language in the laws so that they can't put the poison pill bills in there. The poison pill amendments. So my understanding is that the guy's doing what he's supposed to do. He knows he can't get that shit passed, so he's not letting it go onto the table. And GOA is the primary guys that are pushing the narrative that he's not doing his job. Well, they're full of shit. I watched one of their shows today, and they tried to claim that the reason that the shooting happened at the baseball field was because the state they were in, it was a gun-free zone. Well, that was a total freaking lie. It was a reciprocity problem. It had nothing to do with being a gun-free zone. So you really got to be careful who's saying this stuff, because they have an agenda just like everybody else.
Well, everyone's got an agenda. My agenda is a pro-gun agenda. My agenda is a pro-constitution agenda. Okay? All I want is for everyone to follow the fucking law, even the government. But does that happen? No. No. In a perfect world, it does, but it doesn't always happen.
Right, but
to say that Ryan is the one obstructing it is like saying Obama didn't get that Trump didn't get Obamacare done. Trump didn't have anything to do with Obamacare not getting repealed.
Right.
He did everything he was supposed to do, and it was the Senate that let him down. The Senate and the House.
And as far as with the gun rights and being the right time and all that stuff, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna say that he probably has better insider information than I do, since I don't know any of the people personally. And if he doesn't think he has the votes, sometimes the best move is not doing something. If you rush something when you don't have enough deals made and all that stuff, I mean, we all know how corrupt it is to get a bill passed. But either way, if you don't think it's going to pass and you put it up there and it fails, well, now you got to start over from square one. Whereas at least it's in there. If they hold it up a little bit and then they change the language a little bit, or they make some deals like, hey, I'll vote for your farm thing if you vote for this, blah, 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 whatever. Then they put it up and it gets voted and it passes.
Right. So and the reason we're in this situation is because of the Republican people that talked a big story when they were the underdog and they knew it didn't make a goddamn bit of difference because they couldn't do anything anyway. Now they're in power and they're afraid to tell people, no, we really didn't want to do that anyway.
Right, and that's where the problem lies. Like we said, the rhinos and stuff, the people that say they're for Second Amendment, they say that they are pro-gun, but when push comes to shove, they don't want to vote on it.
Yeah. Here's the thing that gets me. You know, I know that they may be biding their time because they're you know, there's a lot of rhinos on the Republican side, but you know, my perspective it might be better to actually put something pro-gun in front of them all and see where they stand. That way we can single out who's actually a rhino and who's an actual, you know, a conservative Republican, because I would like to know who the rhinos are so that we can, you know, I don't know, do some, you know, collaborative effort to get them replaced with someone more, you know, conservative or libertarian Republican than what we've got right now. And granted, that might just be wishful thinking as well. But at least, you know, I'd like to be able to single some of these people out so we know who's against us and who's with us.
And you know, that's fine as long as you're willing to pay the price of that bill will be dead this year. You know, so you'll get your information, but your bill will be dead. And you know what the hell? Maybe it's dead anyway.
It's dead anyways because they're not doing anything with it. So, you know, do something or don't, honestly. But
so I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you letting me vent that, because that's what I would have said at Ghost Chat also, because people are all taking a big dump on Ryan and they're just using him as the patsy. Oh, no, it's not my fault that we're not doing that. It's all Paul Ryan's fault because he holds up the vote. And these are the same people that behind closed doors say, if you put that up, I won't vote for it.
The problem is, though, Paul Ryan also has a track record of not being very pro-gun either himself. You know, more. I'm not going to say he's anti, but I am going to say that he's more on the fence than anything. So
yeah, but like you said, that was one of the big promises that the Republicans gave the gun community, and Trump knows this. And I'm sure, I mean, look at the pressure he put on him to bring the bill in for Obamacare. And they, you know, right up until the very last minute, when he finally had to go in front of Trump, you know, and grovel and say, I'm sorry, man, we don't really have the votes. I mean, that's what it took.
Right. We got some comments out here on the Gun Channel side. I wanna read some of them, if that's all right with you guys.
Oh, go right ahead.
All right.
No, I don't think it's all right. I don't like reading comments from our live viewers.
Well, I appreciate the comments from our live viewers, and I'm going to read some of them. So
I do too. I just thought it was funny. You asked for permission, so I figured I would deny it.
Well, you know what? I'm overruling you, so there we go. Mel the Nut is saying
serious anyways, so okay.
I'm not being serious either, but you know, regardless, we're going to do it anyways.
God damn it, Night Strike!
Mel the Nut out there, and everyone knows Mel. He watches all the chats, and I'm not kidding. He watches all the chats. You know, but he's saying the Republicans are waiting for the midterms to pass gun legislation. All their stuff is going to fail, so they're going to have to pass something before the midterms that will actually pass. He might be onto something. None of their legislation is going to pass. Need to save the pro-gun stuff till before the midterms to make it look like they actually did something, which it's looking more like right now that they're not doing anything.
So you think they're waiting until next year?
Yeah. Enrique is out there saying, I keep running into hunters who talk big but never vote pro 2A. I find it's just a perspective issue on need. Clearly 2A is not well known among the masses. No, it's not, because the problem is the schools aren't teaching the Constitution anymore.
Shall not be infringed.
Shall not be infringed. And the government doesn't follow the Constitution anymore either. In some areas they do. In some areas they don't. It's selective. And, you know, not to get in a whole rant here, but there is nowhere in the Constitution say you can take each amendment and select those you don't want. It's not selective.
Well, I mean, there is. It's just there's a process for doing it, and it's called putting another amendment that cancels out the first one. So as soon as you do that, that's what I've always said. Hey, you guys don't like guns or whatever. Okay, go ahead and repeal the Second Amendment. As soon as you do that, then we can start talking about infringements because it's not in there anymore. But until you do that, which they never will because they know they're never going to get, well, the 2/3 of the states have to ratify it or whatever. Like they need a bunch of people. Then shut the hell up. Like you don't get to just pick and choose because you feel like it.
Right. It's either all or nothing.
Well, that was Thomas's whole thing is, the Second Amendment, the deprecated amendment. Nobody gives a shit. They stomp all over it.
Yeah. All right.
I like Midnight Ranger's comment. What the hell do Yankees rhinos have to do with reciprocity?
Different.
The rhino is. I have to say, I got a chance to shoot one a little bit ago. One of the fellow gun channels members has one. He let me shoot it when I met up with him, and it's an interesting recoil. I can see what people, like why people like it. I don't think I necessarily would want one, but it was interesting to shoot. So anyone who's like talk crap about it, if you've never shot it, like at least experience it because it's interesting. It goes straight back. It really does. There's no rise at all. It just like punches you in the hand.
Yeah, remember the rhino. The rhino was designed by the same designer that made the Unica 6, which I am a very big fan of the Unica 6, just because the factor is it's a semi-auto revolver. That kind of shit is just cool in my book.
And yes, I shot a 357 Rhino.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
And it was pretty comfortable to shoot. I mean, I've shot. Yeah. My buddy's got a 357. I don't know. It's a Smith & Wesson, like one of the small ones. I never remember the numbers and shit, but it's like one of the smaller ones. And that thing, like, we'll shoot 38 specials out of it all day and have fun. But you shoot a cylinder at 357, it's like, damn, my hand kind of hurts. But that Rhino, I could have probably shot that Rhino all day.
And while this is not a match chat, Rich White is out there. I see your avatar, man, and all I'm going to say is Robotech. And that's all I'll say.
That's all that needs to be said.
That's all that needs to be said on that. But Rich did mention that McCain's doctors told him not to go to Washington for the vote, and he did it anyways. And I have to say, being originally from Arizona myself, I've never liked John McCain. My entire family that lives out there and it does not like John McCain. But the problem is in Arizona, it was either you had John McCain or you voted for the Democrat. And no one wants to vote for a Democrat in Arizona.
What the? I guess what's a Madiba? It's the original Rhino.
The Mateba.
Mateba.
The Mateba.
The Unica 6. Like that can't be right. Anyways.
Well, it sounds like if you voted for McCain, you got a Democrat anyway. He always votes with him. What the hell difference does it make?
Yeah, I mean, there are some aspects where he is an actual Republican, but in the last 15 to 20 years, he's been off his fucking rocker.
Yep.
I'll give you that. So, all right, let's get off of the whole politics chat. I'm getting
let's talk guns tonight, man.
Let's talk about what's going on. So, for all of you that didn't know, yesterday I was on gun channels. I was in a couple chats. I was out of a couple chats. The hurricane was coming past me. I got the tropical storm area of it, so I got like 40, 50 mile per hour winds. I've got a waterlogged backyard. I've got trees down all over my property, but I didn't have to evacuate. No one in Charleston had to evacuate, except if you live downtown, because downtown it's flooded so bad that you can stand in the street and the water is high as your waist. So, but it always floods in Charleston. So, regardless on that. But I wanted to talk about what you can do with your guns and your ammunition in case of a flooding or a hurricane and your house gets flooded, that kind of thing. Maybe some ways to prevent your ammunition getting wet, all of that. So why don't we talk about a little bit about that? And before we do, I want to welcome the two latecomers that were just trying to keep that show going, so I wouldn't have to start hit or miss.
We tried all we could, man.
Yeah,
we worked our butts off for that.
I'm sure you did, Ellis. I'm sure you did. So we got Ghost Tactical. So Ghost, go ahead and plug your show, even though it just finished.
It finished about 10 minutes ago. It was a good show. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I didn't see you in the lobby earlier. I would have sent you a link, but I didn't see you. But yeah, Tactical Tuesday, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, right before hit or miss. So I try not to step on your toes a whole lot, but thanks for having me, brother.
Oh, no problem. Is Clover coming over? I gave him a link.
He very well could be.
All right. And then we've got the Outlaw Hatfield.
That would be me. What's going on, man?
Nothing. Just giving you a link and whatnot. So
cousin from another mother?
No, just cousin.
Yeah, he's the one we don't talk about.
Thanks.
Wow.
Tough love, man. Tough love.
Hey, I want to send a shout out to Smeggy. Thanks for joining us, Smeggy. That was an awesome show. I appreciate you joining us tonight.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
If you can't take the abuse from your own family, who can you take it from, right? All right.
Yes, but so you put out as much as you receive. I'm telling you.
I don't actually. I don't put out enough to get that blue dress. Okay. But people just shove it on me. I don't know why.
I did not say anything about I haven't mentioned the blue dress in 2 weeks.
See, what Nice Strike tends to forget is he secretly likes the blue dress because it brings him a lot of attention.
Ghost.
And it matches.
Sorry, I'm not hijacking your show. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Ghost, that sounds like you really wanted to be in the Navy instead of the Marines.
Oh my God. Are you... Wow. Them's fighting words.
Ow.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He's passionate.
Can I start about the can I start real quick about the real quick thing about the floods and all that? Or you have someone else? Go for it.
If you want.
Let's just jump in.
Foosh just jumped in too, yes. So let's get on with it. We got to get the content. What's going on with the content? So
I was just going to say, try to find the highest spot you can. Build some shelves that you can get your ammo and guns as high as you can if you're not going to be in a safe and all that. Build some shelves up high.
You could do that. I would also recommend, if aside from doing that, Bill mentioned it in the pre-chat, that it might be better to get ammo cans that are watertight. There are some that are watertight. Some aren't. There are some that aren't. But even if they're submerged, some of those watertight ones do keep the water out.
Let me ask you this, because this I think is like the most common thing people have is like those, military surplus metal cans. I know they have a seal around the top or whatever, but are those like submerged safe, or they're just like they're okay in the rain or whatever?
We beat the living hell out of them in the Marine Corps,
I wouldn't trust them.
I wouldn't go as far as being water. No, they'll take a banging, but I wouldn't submerge them in water. No.
Okay.
Well,
so
Matt did the test with the Walmart ones, and they did okay. But yeah.
What you could do is go out and get a vacuum sealer, stick them in there, vacuum seal it, and close the dang lid.
Or baggies or something. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah,
vacuum sealers.
Put your rounds
or get a
Ziploc.
get a can of PVC.
Let's all talk about hooray!
Yeah, you should only do that if you're going to store them long term and you're not going to use the ammunition right away.
Absolutely.
So.
And if you're going to use it right away, okay, if one does get a little wet, okay, you're going to have some hang fires. And a lot of times the rounds themselves are sealed. So as long as they're not metal cased, a lot of times you'll be good if they're submerged. Even for a couple days, water may not get into it. And if you do, you may have a hang fire. So if it is submerged, just go out and shoot it. Just be careful. For hang fires.
Yeah,
And that might be
if you-
something you go out and test. Also, go put a handful of rounds in some water, and then go out to the range and fire them and see how they react.
Now here's one that I just thought about. How about some PVC pipe?
Could do
Yeah.
that.
PVC and then put it in baggies and pile it in there and put the caps on the end. Yep.
What I was gonna-
Absolutely,
what
yeah.
I
And then seal the
recommend,
cap.
what I recommend is if you're going to use PVC pipe, here's what you need to do. The baggie, like Foose mentioned, is a good idea to put inside the PVP pipe. But what you can do is watertight. What they use for underneath your sink to replace the pipes underneath your sink. You can get the glue, specialized glue, and those end caps for PVC pipe, and just glue the end caps if you're gonna keep them long term, and you want to make sure that they don't get water in them. That's one way to do it, and I know that glue works really, really well.
Yeah, and the thing about it is once those things are sealed, if you ever need to open them up, just saw the end off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys, that's fine.
We may be going on it.
That's for your prepper ammo. That's for the shit that you absolutely got to have something for when the water goes down and you got to shoot the people that are stealing your sneakers.
We may be going off the deep end, but it is still a good piece of advice in case you want to do it for shit hits the fan.
Yeah, you should probably have some really well sealed ammunition, just like you should always have some really well sealed matches. But I don't think it. I actually kind of take an intermediate role. I put ammo because I have probably way too much ammo, and if there
you can never have too much ammo.
Yeah, that's what Matt says.
Never enough ammo.
But the stuff that I have that's in bulk, I put in ammo cans with good seals, and that stuff's in my attic, not my basement.
I want to broach the topic of ammo cans. Even though military surplus ammo cans, they will keep water out mostly. I know Ghost says they abuse them in the Marines. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But here's the point: if you take care of the seals, you sometimes you may need to oil some of the seals to keep it from drying out. If the seal isn't dried out and you have kept the seal properly, it will keep water out mostly. Granted, I'm not saying it's got to be great if you submerge the damn thing, but maybe if you drop it into water and pull it out, it might be all right.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's not in there for a prolonged amount of time and all that, then it's going to be fine. But, if it's going to be submerged for any amount of time, anything's going to probably leak. I mean, you're going to get them wet. But, yeah, those ammo cans are going to be fine. And they're cheap, and they are sturdy. You can bang the hell out of them, and you can do a lot of things still. But if they're going to be submerged for a long amount of time, well, chances are it's not going to be, because I know that if I get flooding, and it's going to be wet, I'm going to go pretty quickly and get that stuff out of the water. So that's just me.
And again, that's why I store that kind of ammunition up in the attic, not in the basement, because even if the hurricane tears the roof off the house, it's going to get rained on, but that's not a problem. Any ammo can will shed rainwater. That's not a problem.
Yeah, it's not going to be flooding in the attic. Yeah.
Right. It's the basement. And if you're flooded up to your attic, screw your guns and ammo anyway. You're already bugged out of there. You already took what you're gonna need.
That's right.
Well, and I just want to mention this because he said it multiple times on every chat, like YouTube and Gun Channel side. Mel the Nut is saying to use Flex Seal. Flex Seal the ammo can. That infomercial stuff.
Is that that rubber stuff you spray on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'll be honest. I've used some of that stuff, and it works all right for if you're doing I ran out of some the glue for PVC because I was redoing the piping underneath the sink.
All of it already?
No, I was redoing the piping underneath the sink, and I didn't have any more glue, so I used some of that Flex Seal stuff. And I will give Flex Seal credit where the spray stuff actually does work. The aerosol cans work. But the issue is, if I could, I would rather just get the actual regular cans of the stuff and just, paint it on, because the spray cans, they don't get enough.
contraption you're making, though. He's saying to spray that on an ammo can to seal it up.
That might work, but what I would recommend doing beforehand is getting some of the. Have you seen at Walmart or some of the other places they sell either flex tape or they sell watertight tape? And you might want to use some of that around the can, where the seal is on the can, before.
Like a plumber's tape, like what you use on your spigots and spouts.
Teflon tape?
Or even duct tape.
Teflon tape? No.
Even duct tape. Tape around first before using that sealant stuff, and that would work even better.
No, I think you're better off with your other idea, which is store the ammo in bulk and vacuum seal it. That shit you can leave that at, if you vacuum seal that stuff, you can leave it at the bottom of the lake for an hour, a couple hours, and it's not going to bother anything.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I really like that idea, especially because, like you said, right? We're talking about like super long-term storage, but let's say you vacuum seal up all your ammo except for like 1,000 rounds or something, because that's what you're going to use in the next month or whatever. And then what happens when you get some more ammo or whatever? You just seal it up, and if you want to use it, you just cut the bag. I mean, you're only losing a couple of cents for the bag, and then every time you bulk ammo, just seal half of it and then shoot half of it or something.
There you go.
Now we're gonna
like rotating through my ammo. I don't like having this one set of 1,000 I've had for the past 5 years, and then this is the stuff I just bought and I'm using that. No, I'd rather shoot the stuff that I've had for a couple of years, and then the stuff I just bought is now storage. And then once that gets used up, I buy more, and it's like I always rotate my stuff.
Now we've gone over preventing it for your ammo from getting lit. Now let's go on to the if your ammo does get wet, what can you do? Well, I've heard some people say, you can take your ammo and just let ammo out if it's been flooded or submerged, and just let it dry and it'll work. I'm going to tell you right now, don't do that unless your ammo was made for being submerged for any amount of time, which if it was, great, you're good, I would assume. But if not, I wouldn't try it, because Sammy recommends that you do not use or try and shoot any ammo that's been submerged for any amount of time. It's not safe.
Well, who is this Sam guy, and why should we trust him?
Yeah. Melanut, you got me.
I love that sigh, because you can tell he legitimately is angry at me for asking that question.
Sporting arms.
The sigh
Specs are overrated anyway.
The sigh is because I have to explain
everything.
It's the Sporting Arms and Ammunition Manufacturers Institute. Okay. Here's the thing. What do you if you have ammunition that's gotten wet and submerged? If you're a reloader, you can recover some of it. And I don't mean you're gonna be able to shoot it. What I mean is you may be able to recover, the bullets. You can pull the bullets out of the cartridges. You may be able to recover even, the brass cartridges. Just dry them off. You should be able to, put them through a parts cleaner.
Will be fine.
You'll be able to recover the brass. You're not going to be able to recover the primer or the powder inside. So you're just going to have to get rid of that however you're going to get rid of it. But in a case where you got submerged ammo, it's really, if you don't reload, more or less, you really just have to take it to, I guess, the local police station, or, I guess if your local range has an area where you can drop off that ammo, that's where you take it. Wherever you can properly dispose of it. Now, you want to do it in the right way. You don't want to do it in the wrong way and then just, get arrested or anything. But most of the time, if your ammo has become bad because of it's been submerged, you're really supposed to take it to a law enforcement office for disposal.
What? Tear it apart and rebuild it.
Well, that's if you're a reloader. What if you're not a reloader?
Give it to someone who reloads and let them tear it apart and rebuild it. Because you can still you clean off the projectile and you can use the brass.
Right.
Yeah, you can supposed to just powder as like a like a fire starter or something. I mean, it probably will mostly burn. Just don't use it as an explosive.
Yeah. I thought you were supposed to pack it in rice like they do with cell phones and stuff.
I will tell you right now, that only works like 10% of the time with electronics. I've tried it. It's
No,
only
just take the ammo and throw it in the river. Go buy new stuff.
I wouldn't throw it in a river, but I would properly dispose of it. What do you guys think? What do you have? What are your comments on this?
I just sat back down. Sorry, I was away. I realized that I had brass turning out in the garage that I needed to bring in.
Oh my!
It was getting cleaned. Yeah, it was out there for like 3 hours. I was like,
Well, we were talking about what to do when your when your ammo gets submerged. So
tear it apart and rebuild it.
okay, if you're a reloader and you have the equipment to tear it apart,
Yep.
that's a great point. If you know someone that reloads, you could give them your ammo as well.
Tear it apart and reload it.
But if you don't know someone if you aren't a reloader and you don't know anybody,
You put it in a big box and you mark it range only.
Yeah. And
Seriously, I'm serious. I am dead serious. You put it in a big box and you say range only and you go buy new stuff.
so here is a dish of rounds that I need to pull apart because these are rounds that, right here, primer didn't get into it. Some of these rounds I picked up, like this one I picked up off the range. I don't know the loading. I'm going to pull it apart, reuse the brass.
Charlie.
All this stuff. Here's one that doesn't have any powder in it because I ran my powder dry, my powder measure empty on some rounds. All this stuff I'm going to end up pulling apart. Here's one that I loaded upside down.
Well, you can still shoot that.
Out of a 40, I'm not going to.
But want to go backwards if it's loaded, Rob?
Only too liberal, guys. Only too liberal.
Yeah.
Oh.
So all this stuff, I have a kinetic hammer. This will take me a couple hours to pull apart. But I'll do it because, especially these 9mm, I don't know the loading. Actually, these two I do because they're mine. But this one, I don't know the loading. It's crimped heavy. I'm thinking this is a major. If I put this in my gun, it'll blow up. So if I pick up rounds off the range, I rip them apart.
All right. So, okay, let's talk. Let's go a little further down the rabbit hole. So, say you're in a hurricane or you're in an area that flooded. What do you do with your guns if they get submerged? Well, right
before I leave, they're going in the truck with me.
Obviously, but that's you. They were going to go with me if I had to evacuate, but I didn't have to. I ended up not having to. But if you are in an area, if you're able to get your guns out, get them out. If you come back after the fact, as long as you haven't let it go for like a week, you might be able to wipe them off and get any rust that's gotten onto them if they're steel. Granted, ARs are made out of aluminum. Water won't hurt them too much.
No, hurt barrel and bolt carrier and stuff like that. But
yeah, but that stuff you can treat. So
that's a detail strip. You got a detail strip every one of those guns.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk bug out real quick. Let's say you have to do this. Would you be safe using that quarter motor oil, using some of the oil out of there in a couple patches if you don't have your gun cleaner with you?
Yeah,
because it was in your box.
Absolutely, you could.
Just to preserve it and wipe everything down and kind of protect until you can get it, taken apart, cleaned, and properly lubricated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing.
Even on your wood stock, between your barrel and your and the wood, I'd put oil and stuff in there if it got submerged. I'd hang. I'd take it apart. I'd hang the stock up and let it dry for weeks before I'd put it back together.
The problem is you're going to have to treat that stock after it's gotten wet.
Yes, but
depending on how long it's been underwater also determines whether the stock is recoverable or not.
Yes, and that's what I mean. Like, let's say down in Irma, it was underwater for a night. I would still hang it up and test fit it throughout the time as it's drying to make sure it's not swelling, but I would have it out for weeks to make sure it's dry because you don't want a moist wood, underneath that handguard and putting it against your steel barrel.
Why wouldn't you stick it in an oven?
You could do that too.
You know, get a couple of big flat cookie sheets and lay them across the across the rack and put them in at a very low temperature, like 150, 200, and let them sit for an hour and bake them dry. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's not a lacquered stock where you're afraid it might catch fire. And even that, I don't think 150, 200 degrees would do it.
No, I would say put over 212, so any water in your stock would
to boil it out.
evaporate. Yeah.
Yep. I'll buy that.
Now, here's the thing.
We're talking about guns here. We're not talking about candy. You know.
I mean, you think about it. You go to a heavy gun range. I guarantee that wood stock is going to get over 250 degrees just by shooting it. So you put it 250, you're good.
Now, in the event where your guns have been submerged for longer than a day, we're saying weeks.
Ugh.
We're gonna use weeks because obviously you're not gonna wait for a month to go back and see the damage. If you do, well then you're a dumbass. Well, no, you're not a dumbass, but you probably should have come back sooner because of looters.
I would say you're gonna replace stock because that thing's gonna swell.
Yeah. You're also gonna have to deal with rust if you have guns that are made out of steel and not aluminum. While yes, I realize that most bolt carrier groups in AR-15s are also steel. Some of the actual fire control group parts sometimes are steel as well. So in an AR-15, any part that is steel, you are going to have to look out for rust and treat it appropriately. What I'm going to recommend is no matter what, if your guns have gotten submerged for longer than a day, if we're talking like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however many weeks, what you want to do, you want to try and minimize the damage, but you're probably going to want to take it to a competent gunsmith and have them look at it and see if they can either restore or repair whatever damage, if any, that has occurred to the rifle or the firearm itself, because you don't want to, while yeah, you could try and treat it yourself. You can just replace the stock. If it's wood, get a new stock. Some people don't want to do that, but you can do that. As long as you're able to treat some of the rust, you might not have a problem. But I'm going to recommend, just for everyone's safety, that you take it to a competent gunsmith and have them look over it first before you try and do anything to it, because I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Well, automatically, I'm going to assume all the springs are bad, so all the springs have to be replaced. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't think spending a week or so in water is going to destroy a spring. It's when you bring it out and expose it to the air that it's going to start to rust.
The oxidation.
And again, I think if you dry it off, the other thing I would say is if you use a carbon tetrachloride type cleaner, like gun scrubber or that kind of thing that sprays on and then evaporates, and then you follow that up with oil, that's going to drive the moisture right off of that.
And Mel out there on the gun channel side is saying that this is where we call the insurance company. And if you have done the proper thing and called your insurance company and made sure that they will go and insure all your guns and gotten that, then yes, this is where you would call the insurance company, let them know you have a loss on your firearms and that are on your policy, and you're golden. But not every insurance policy out there supports having guns and stuff on it. We've talked about this already in a previous episode where apparently some people had to go out and get their own insurance policy specifically for their firearms because it wasn't covered under their normal homeowner's insurance. So,
another thing you got to consider, guys, since we're talking about the hurricanes and flooding and stuff, if you got seawater and your guns get wet, is that salt water going to increase the corrosion? Anybody that had a ocean swell come in and coastal property stuff, you might be
that salt water will increase the rate of rust as well.
Yeah.
Yep. And Travis 20 million. Yes, I understand there's oxygen in water, but we're talking days here, not months and years. So, you know, the oxygen, the amount of free oxygen that's dissolved in water, I don't think it's going to totally destroy the gun in that amount of time.
No, but there is a chance that if it's been weeks, I don't know if you guys if you guys have seen the episode on Anvil from Scene Arsenal, on the shotguns that Mark was fixing, he showed one that had gotten the brunt of Hurricane Matthew from last year, and it was rusted and it was bad.
But was it like that? Did the guy just pick it up out of the water and then hold on to it for 2 months and then send it in? You see what I mean?
Yeah, probably. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you let it set like that, it's gonna need some TLC.
Right. But that's what I'm saying.
You got to get it
back. You got to detail strip them.
And also, I'm gonna say this right now. Don't do anything to your guns if you're not comfortable with, working on them.
Right. If you're not comfortable, send them to me, and then write your insurance and say they were stolen by looters. No, don't do that, because then they'll come looking for me.
If you're not comfortable with fixing them yourself, go and see a certified gunsmith and have him take care of it. Because I don't want anyone getting hurt.
Send them to Smeggy, 1234 Michigan, and then just say that they got destroyed.
Or you could, just send them to Night Strike, who is a certifiable gunsmith.
I do have a gunsmithing certification.
Yes.
And he is certifiable.
Certified.
Have you ever built a gun? Huh?
But this is just like corrosive ammo. Time is the key. The quicker you can get to that gun, and the quicker you can start remediating the exposure to that gun. Big. So tell your wife, I'm sorry, I can't go look for new furniture now. I got to tear all my guns down.
Where's your phone at?
Yes, guns are more important than furniture. I will agree.
Absolutely.
I will agree on that too. So
I can sleep on the floor.
Just as long as you can.
An air mattress costs $50.
All right. So
no, you can go to Walmart, pick one up for $18.
All right, so we got a question from the email side, and if any of you guys out there have any questions, just send them in to nightstrike1@gmail.com. That's NIGHTSTRYKE, the number 1@gmail.com. We will go over it. Let's see. This one is from Jacob. He's saying, if you could only buy one, would you buy a Desert Tech MDR or wait a few months for an IWI to release a 308 Tavor? Thanks. I think I would go Desert Tech MDR over the Tavor just in general.
That is a very cool looking rifle.
Is that one that's afforded ejecting bullpup?
I think so. Yes. I personally, I'm just not a fan of the Tavor, and honestly, I don't ever believe they'll make it in 308. So I would just.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it'll be 308 because they'd have to redesign it.
Now the Tavor is different than the previous rifle the Israelis used, which was the Galil or Galil, however the hell you're supposed to say
Galil.
it. But it's different. So I don't know if they're going to be able to make it in 308.
Well, they'll be able to, but is there enough of a market for that?
I don't believe so. There is a market for the Tavor itself, but I'm not sure there's enough interest in the market for the Tavor in a 308. So I would say
the 308 bullpup. I don't think there's enough market.
The MDR is already in. It's in 223 Wild. That's the barrel it's got. It's got. They've got one in 308. They even got one in 300 Blackout, if I'm not mistaken. So I would go with the MDR over the Tavor. Just saying. What do you guys think?
What's the trigger like on the MDR?
I think it's got
a bullpup. I mean, all bullpups triggers are going to suck.
I think it's got a flat trigger though.
The MDR has a flat trigger, yeah.
Well, I for one have never fired either, so I'm keeping my dog out of this race.
Well, I won't lie. I haven't used the Tavor either, but I honestly wouldn't get a Tavor.
I have shot one. It to me it feels extremely odd.
Have you ever shot a Galil?
No. I've shot a Tavor in 5.56, and it just feels weird. The recoil's weird, but of course, if that's what you shoot and you get used to, I'm sure the recoil of an AR-15 would feel weird. So.
I just don't know how I feel about a Tavor in 308. It just seems, to me, it's just like, why? Yes, I am a little biased. Oh, well. You asked the question, I'm answering it.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got? What was the other one?
I've got a question for the panel.
Go ahead.
Okay. Are you supporting Gun Website's Patreon for the Gun Show Loophole Tour? You guys don't actually have to answer. I just wanted a clever way of plugging the Patreon for Gun Websites.
I'm a 5.56. I'm an AR contributor.
I just upped mine to the $50.
I'm
Yeah,
really,
and you
I'm really thinking about that. I'm really thinking about that because that's some pretty cool stuff, man. And if you guys don't understand what that is, go to Patreon.com and Gun Websites, and it's got all sorts of cool stuff. And that $50 one's really awesome because they'll take $25 of that and go spend it at a local gun shop and send that gear to you, which is awesome.
Nice.
With a patch and everything else.
So. Yeah. Plus everything else you get, yeah. But I think it's supporting those small gun shops and all that, and that's pretty awesome. And if G knows you and he kind of knows what you would like, he's even said that he would try to buy stuff that he thinks that you would like to send to you from that local gun shop, which is awesome.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath on it. I think
no. But I'm just saying.
You're right. He did mention that, but I don't want to speak for him and put words in his mouth because I don't think that's necessarily part of it. You get what you get.
Yeah, but it's also supporting. But the biggest thing is you're supporting that local gun shop.
I mean, yeah. You also think he knows his shit. It's not going to be crap. It's not going to be like, oh, this knife broke just by opening, or what have you. I mean,
oh, definitely not. But anyways, yeah. Sorry, I just really wanted to give a cheap plug in there for him.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Does anybody out there in the gun channel side have a question? Just saying it right now, just so you guys can tell us if you do. Give us a question. Anyone on the YouTube side, if you got questions, go ahead. I can't find that other one. I had it, and it just disappeared on me. I think we already went over it.
I got a gun question if you guys might be able to answer it. We got time to answer real quick? Or
Shoot.
Yeah?
We're gun experts.
Well, now that I got the PSA pistol lower, I'm thinking about maybe going the route of 300 blackout for an upper. And 8.5 inch, is that going to be reliable? I really didn't want to go with the 10.5 inch, but 8.5 inch with the 300 blackout.
For 300 blackout, 8.5 is good, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it was
made
developed
for 8.5.
Yeah, I didn't know if it. Okay, I didn't know if it was 10.5 intentions because I was watching some velocity tests. You do lose some energy and you do lose some velocity when you go 8.5 or 8 versus 10.5.
Well,
so I wasn't sure.
Of course, but so with that you could get 300 blackout is optimized for the
short barrel
8.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what's optimized for because it's supposed to have that and then suppressor on the end of it. If you get into loading, you could get into some like 5 grains and stuff like that to make it really economical.
Yeah.
I know you're I think you're starting to reload.
Yeah, Squib hooked me up with a ton of reloading supplies. All I need to basically get is a press, and then I would just need my dies and shell holders for 300 blackout. I'm ready.
So you could also, a lot of manufacturers are starting to sell the polymer coated bullets, because most of them, it's a pistol round. I mean, basically what it is, it's a really long 45 ACP. Run it subsonic, do that, load it with pistol powder. You're looking at, shooting a 300 blackout for maybe 12 to 13 cents a round.
Oh man, yeah. And part of the deal is I'm also looking at it. I've got that Ruger American Ranch coming to my FFL. I got the 762 by 39. Well, that just happens to have the same muzzle threads as the PSA 300 blackout upper.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm curious, do you guys know what the AMD 63s, what the thread pattern is on that?
That'll most likely be left hand 114.
Okay, so I wouldn't be able to use the 5/8 24, because I was thinking maybe the suppressor route would be really nice to go to. I could bounce between using it on the ranch rifle and using it on the 300 blackout for home defense. Yeah. Does anybody have any experience with the pistol uppers from PSA at all?
I don't.
No, I've been meaning to build a pistol build, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
I mean, it's cool. I've got the one with the radical upper on it, but it's having some issues. But I'm going to take it out here and see how it runs now that I polish the feed ramps. But yeah, cool. I was just kind of curious because I know they got it for $259. I might be watching, see if there's any Black Friday sales coming up.
We got a question on the YouTube side from Midnight Range TM. He's asking,
I was going to say that.
question, what kind of quiche should I do Saturday?
I think Cycle Camp already answered that for him.
I would say go with like a bacon and a Gouda.
I'm gonna say it's got to have bacon.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of bacon. Maybe.
I mean, isn't everything better with bacon? I mean, honestly.
I think we need a plethora of bacon, El Guapo. Tell me something nice, Drake. What is a plethora?
Plethora, definition of plethora.
I knew what a plethora was,
It's more than a minimum necessary amount.
There you go.
A lot.
A lot.
But is it possible to have a plethora? Can you get enough bacon? That is the big question.
No,
is there
you
never
can't,
enough
because
bacon?
there is no definition of what's enough.
Bacon. There's never enough.
Yes, there is.
Hashtag
I
never
can
enough
answer
bacon.
this.
Yes.
Never enough
If you have a
bacon.
choice,
A pound of bacon per person per day. That is enough bacon.
That is not enough.
Well,
That is how
hopefully,
much bacon my
hopefully
uncle
me and
brought up.
Night Strike will be doing some hog hunting this year, and we'll let you know when we get enough.
Ooh,
If you
feral
if
quiche.
you
That
go
sounds
hog
wicked,
hunting,
man.
you can get Travis's 300 blackout. That's a great for hog hunting.
Feral hog quiche. There we go. Well, I mean, I'm going to have that ranch rifle too. I'm pretty excited about that.
Travis,
Yeah.
you may want to make a take a small vacation, come down and hog hunt with me and Ellis.
What? When is it? When is the season?
I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll let you know.
If it's like in Arkansas,
I think it's open
I think
season
it's,
on hogs.
It's Tuesday. Yeah.
Well,
Every
okay.
Tuesday nights after intermittent.
Tuesday at 9 Eastern.
Yeah, there you go.
That
I
is
think
something I
in
wanted to
South
do.
Carolina, in South Carolina, it's open season on hogs as long as you're not hunting a WMA or something like that.
I know the coyotes all year round.
so
I
that's how
think
it is
in Arkansas it is. Yeah, yeah.
It's all year round, and you can just shoot and let lay even.
Oh, that's a waste of good bacon, man.
Well, I know, but I have a friend of mine about half an hour from here. He took a 250-pound hog off his land.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, I've already shot 4 of these this year, and he's just putting them down and going.
All right, AC has a question.
Okay.
AC says, "Can you hog hunt with a 223 and tell us how dreadful it is for hog hunting?"
You can do it. You can absolutely do it.
So that is something that I have wanted to do.
I would do that.
Okay.
I'll be using a 7.62 by 3.9. I don't know what he's going to be using.
I'll probably use that too. I've got an AK. I'll just bring my AK.
I'll bring my AMD 63. There we go.
My
That'll
buddy
do it.
took out a 30-30.
AK hog hunt.
Ooh.
There you go. 30-30 would be good.
Yeah.
I saw a great video of a guy hunting hogs with a 22 Magnum suppressed,
What?
and he was just shooting them right in the eye. It was amazing.
Oh, God.
Wow.
And so you're telling me I can
And then
bring
the
down
thing
my
drops.
PMR 30.
Whenever I went, I took my 545.
And Malevolent Burrito, we don't listen to what Bob says on principle. Do not listen to Bob. Even if he said 223 is for gophers, 223 is for Bob. Really.
But the problem is Canadian gophers are like 3 feet long.
They're 3
That's
feet
what he doesn't
long
tell
and
you.
like 6 feet
They're
wide.
huge.
So
Yeah. So
I
Anyway,
really want
well,
I really want to get into
over.
hunting. So I'm glad that Ellis is coming back down so that I'll have someone to go hunting with.
Cool.
And I would say also, I know that Travis was talking about the PSA stuff, and I'm actually getting ready to do my very first AR build. And I'm doing it for my daughter. She actually wants one. And PSA has some awesome deals right now on AR components.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Man, you can get a complete upper and lower for what, $359 with the bulk carrier group delivered. Not counting your
Absolutely.
I mean,
If
Yeah.
if
that's my
PSA
favorite.
has them in stock,
Now,
Well,
Yeah,
a
well,
lot
they
of
usually
stuff-
have the
yeah.
Freedom or the Classic uppers. The mid links are generally in stock, and then I've never had problems getting a lower. Like the Magpul lower, I think they're like $159 if you do the Magpul Freedom lower.
I wanted to let it be known that I did not bring PSA up this time. It's you guys
No, I
that brought
love,
it
I
up.
love their stuff.
time.
About two of the
This time.
rifles. They're solid, man. You know, and they
They
did.
are.
Wait, what do you mean? You have it on the internal?
I have
Yeah,
not.
you said if we want to get paid, we have to say Palmetto State Armory.
I did
Yeah.
not say that.
15 times.
Checks in the mail, right?
I wish.
Yeah.
But anyways, fuck, what was I gonna say? I got interrupted so many times. Oh, hunting. Yeah, I really want to get into hog hunting, and I don't know. There's really not. It's not really a big problem in Michigan, but they're trying to keep it that way. So we have, basically no rules for hog hunting. You can do whatever you want.
So-
you have to have a license, but the way our licensing thing is set up now, you have to buy a base license for like $15, and then you get that's for small game and anything else, and then you can do hog hunting with that. And then if you want to do deer, you have to then get like a deer tag, or if you want to do bird like ducks and things, like you can do some birds and small game, but like everything else is then extra on top of that.
Now, when you're out hog hunting, red or green light, they can't see. So
Oh, that's good to know. But I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it's not really a problem that I know of, so I don't even know of a good place to go hog hunting. I don't think we have very many of them. So I wouldn't mind going down south sometime and doing it where they are a problem. Because then I know I'm helping the farmers and I'm getting a shit ton of bacon.
Ghost, they only got up here to Arkansas maybe like 5 years ago, right? Something like that.
Yeah, everyone seems to think because our Razorback is the mascot of the football team that they're everywhere. No, it's been 5, 6, 7. It hasn't. It's been
It's been less than
in
a
the
decade.
near future. It's been less than 10 years for sure. And Missouri's got some pretty good ones in southern Missouri. Tennessee's got some pretty good hog hunting, from what I understand as well.
Yeah,
Move
I mean they're
south,
definitely going north,
Smeggy.
and their hides are thick.
Yes, they are.
Smeggy, if you do come down south, we are going to have to take your avatar and put like the Confederate flag.
Oh no,
behind
I
him.
ain't
No,
I don't associate with that bullshit. I'm trying to figure out what Dusty's saying. I mean, he did say, yeah, if you have a deer tag, you can shoot hogs.
And
But,
yes, I'm
you have to
kidding,
have the
Smeggy.
base license. Yeah, I know. You have to have the base license before you even get the deer tag. So that's where I'm saying you can just stop at just having the base license.
Hey.
But I'm trying to figure out what he said in here. He goes, I'm in Michigan, and Ted is friend if kill eat. I don't. I mean, you're friends with Ted Nugent, and if you kill something, you eat it. I don't get what that means.
Come on, man. There were some prepositions in that bad boy.
But also another great hog gun would be a 45-70.
It would.
That would be. That'd be
Can you imagine shooting the hogs with your trapdoor? That would be so much fun.
awesome. Yes.
I think
Honestly-
scary if they're charging you.
I
Well,
think
that's why you're up. You're up. out
Well,
in
yeah,
the
but
tree.
hogs have hips. The hips on a hog don't work right. So if you go up a tree like 3 feet,
Yeah.
you hang on a low branch, they can't reach you.
Did you just say go up a tree like
We
3
hunt them on the
feet?
ground up here. We don't give a shit.
I can't even crawl up a foot up a tree, man.
Okay, you start in a tree.
Oh, okay. Because if they're chasing after me, and I gotta go up there. Like the fat kid in gym class, I ain't going up that rope.
So here in Arkansas, it's legal to hunt under a like deer feeder, and yeah, they'll totally go after the deer feeder. So just set the deer feeder off and watch the hogs come. And the thing is they're smart. So you put some down in an area, they will not be in that area for a while.
SC's got a really good point over there. He said a flamethrower for hog hunting. No cooking needed afterwards.
It's already smoked. It's already smoked.
It's already there, man.
Hickory smoked.
I'm looking at getting a flamethrower just because you can get flamethrowers.
Good God, can you
Really?
imagine Night Strike with a
Seriously?
flamethrower? Holy
Can I
shit.
just order one off eBay, or how does that work? I'm just curious.
No,
There's actually a company out there that makes them. As far as I know,
It uses gasoline.
You
It's
don't
called
need
an
an
aerosol
FFL?
can and a lighter.
it's the
Yeah, WD-40 and Daddy Zippo.
and I think it's also 42.
The
Say
first
that next
handheld
time.
commercial available flamethrower. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And it was crowdfunded. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Throwflame.com, the X15 personal flamethrower. Well, that'll work.
Didn't Yankee buy one of those?
yes,
Did he really?
yes,
he
he
think
did.
he did.
Seriously? For what? I know
Awesome.
he's got property, but that's
Because it's
ridiculous, man.
Yankee.
Because he
I
can.
honestly, I thought he was using it for like roasting the vegetation growing through his driveway or something. I don't know.
Which I hope he lives out of town. He's out there with the flamethrower torch in your driveway, man.
If I got one, I would get the handheld one, the XM42.
All right, so what are we
What's
looking
up,
at?
Midnight?
Midnight. What's going
Okay.
on?
Somebody talking about bacon?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, guys, it's only
Bacon and
17.
pork in that quiche. You don't just need to have bacon. You need to have pork in there too.
I got ham.
So is
I
this
got,
the food hijack part of the evening?
I got
Yes.
it is. I got.
Okay.
I got.
This is food
Canadian
channels
bacon.
now.
Yeah, you guys should have showed up on Saturday. We were bullshitting about food for like 2.5 hours.
The problem is
I like the type of food that goes in my mouth and then I eat it. That's the type I like. What type do you guys?
Best kind.
What?
Opposed to the kind that goes in your butt. Like, what are you
What?
talking about, man?
All right, Richard
I
Gere
don't know
over
what the other
here.
options are. I'm just
Keep
telling
it-
you how I use it.
keep it
And that's
PG-13.
the type I like is the type that goes in your mouth and then you eat it.
Hamster smeggy.
Hey, check the internal, guys. I got the link on there for that flamethrower. It's not bad. It's only $1,700.
Yeah,
Oh, is that the XM whatever it is?
Yeah, the personal
Those are-
flamethrower. It's $50 off right now.
Yeah, those are
Hemi
cool.
said that Yankees got a video on it out there.
Oh,
Well,
geez.
Yankees
That's
got
awesome.
one.
Yeah.
Hey, Midnight.
Yeah, buddy.
The problem I have with your channel, if I watch it for any length of time, I'm going to gain about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, then you be.
Oh, I always have to pause it after about 10 minutes and go hit the fridge.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
like
guys.
I need a Cheeto or something. I can't handle this.
My master plan has been set into effect.
aha! Aha!
By the way, Midnight now has Patreon, so if you guys want to go check out Beer, Bacon, and Bullets, go ahead and check it out.
Check out his Patreon.
Yeah.
His
I'm not-
pastry,
I'm not-
his pastry on. You see
Patreon.
that?
Patreon. Support my icing habit on Patreon.com.
There you go.
I
No,
need
I don't think
butter.
they-
Butter's
I
not
don't-
cheap.
I don't
Never
think they
enough
have
butter.
a quiche that has beer and bacon in
There
it.
you go.
Well,
We
guess
need a-
what?
we
They're
need
gonna,
a,
they're gonna on Saturday. They're gonna.
You need a
That's right,
Guinness
that's right,
quiche,
we
I
need a-
guess.
There
Yeah,
you go.
there's
That's
nothing
it
wrong
right
with
there.
I used to do a Guinness steak. That was pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah. My sister makes a mean Guinness cake.
Yeah, that's pretty popular. You do you see that a lot actually.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can proceed with your gun bullshit, and I'll keep quiet.
Get back to the kitchen where you belong.
We're cleaning up. We're cleaning up.
All
We're
right.
almost done.
I'm a little worried about Dusty here, and I got to look out for my fellow Michigander. But yeah, he's like missing words in all of his sentences. Are you having a stroke there, buddy? Are you okay?
It's called moonshine.
Probably
He is
texting
big
and
on only
driving.
killing what eat. He
Next
is
thing you're
big in
driving right
Michigan.
now, I suppose.
Owns acre near me for hunting. Have talked with before. Really good hunter.
Oh,
His
you know, he's
music,
probably
question
using.
mark.
Well, because he's answering somebody else's questions. I mean, that's okay.
He's probably got
this is
the
some
Google
words.
thing doing his text. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, all right,
He's a
so
cool guy. Just messing with him.
I think now's about the time where we need to wrap this up. So I'm gonna go with the exiting of hit or miss. So, or the closing it down. But let's see. Make sure there's no more questions out on the YouTube side. No, it's just comments about the Gophers in 223. What about the gun channel side? All right, there's another relay out there. So, all right, we're going to shut this one down.
Gun website's Patreon.
I want to thank everyone for, especially my panel, for jumping in and participating in Hit or Miss tonight. I want to thank everybody on the YouTube side for jumping in and commenting and giving us some questions.
I'd like you're welcome. I think I really made this a special night.
I think you did. I think you did. And
You made it something, all
Oh,
right.
it's special, all right.
I will make sure this weekend that I will ruin your chat if you have one.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
I'll make
No,
sure.
hey, it can't be any worse than last week's.
Dude, that last week's was awesome. I'm still kicking myself for not jumping in on that, but I was sleeping. Yeah.
I also want to thank my
Freaking
my
awesome.
gun channel side, everyone out in the chat out there. We really appreciate it. So remember, check out G-Webs' Patreon and help him out if you can. But since this is the Hit or Miss channel, I'm going to say this. If you guys like the topics we discuss, if you have questions for us, topic suggestions, please send it into the email right here and let us know. If you can, send us help us out on Patreon too. Give us $1 or $2 to help us out because we're not making any money on the videos anymore for YouTube. We're not that we made that much in the first place, but we're not getting a payout. So we're doing this on our own. So if you could help us out on Patreon, that'd be great. Aside from that, we don't have anything else to talk about. I think we've pretty much run this one to the ground. So on that note, thank you all for listening. I hope to see you all next week. We'll see you on Match Chat tomorrow if Matt has a chat. If not, we'll see you when we see you. So thank you all for listening. This was Hit or Miss.
Gun website's Patreon.
Bye, Felicia.